In a palace filled with marvels, the house of a king famed for his magnificence, one treasure is the most prized, the most fabulous, the most splendid of all. The pride of Henry VIII's collection, the greatest set of tapestries ever purchased for the great wardrobe. The story of Abraham. My name is Trevor McDonald, and I'm a trustee of Historic Royal Palaces, the charity that looks after Hampton Court Palace. A team of expert conservators and scientists work here to preserve the tapestries to the highest standards. This exhibit is a result of 5 years of specialist research. Today's super-rich show their wealth by buying a football club or a private jet. When Henry VIII wanted a status symbol, he chose this, and the 9 other tapestries in the set that tell the story of Abraham. It was fabulously expensive work, woven with gold and silver threads among the wool and silk, and this set was by far the most extravagant bought by Henry. We don't know exactly how much it cost, perhaps £2,000 or £3,000. For half that, Henry could have had a new warship. His court painter, the great Hans Holbein, was paid only £30 a year for his work. But it wasn't just Henry's wealth that was on display. The stories of the tapestries had an important message as well. This was Tudor propaganda. The book of Genesis tells how God made a covenant with Abraham. He made him the father of his religion and of his nation. After Henry's revolutionary break with the Church of Rome, he too claimed this double role. The tapestries were a message to foreign visitors and to the court that Henry was declaring his own covenant with God, not just ruler of his people, but charged with the care of their souls. And there's even more to it than that. Something else about this story mattered to Henry. This tapestry, the 9th in the set, shows the oath and departure of Eleazar. The Latin inscription describes the scene. The servant Eleazar put his hand on the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him that he would take a wife for Isaac, not from among the daughters of the Canaanites, but of his own kindred. And the servant took 10 camels and the goods of his master, and went to Mesopotamia. The reason for this voyage isn't in this picture at all. It's Isaac, Abraham's son, who needs to be found a good wife in order to carry on the bloodline. Like Abraham, Henry waited years for a son of his own, Prince Edward. And like Abraham, Henry had high hopes for his heir. He wanted to secure the succession for generations to come. Around this central scene, there are more messages for the viewers. 11 figures representing virtues and qualities associated with the story. The story of Abraham tapestries were always high-maintenance items. Too precious for daily use, they were only shown on special occasions. But even the best care could never stop the effects of time and light. The rich, bright colors fade differently over time, and the gold and silver threads that gave the tapestries their luster soon tarnished and blackened. Over a lifetime of almost 500 years, the story of Abraham tapestries have been used as a sumptuous backdrop for state events. Let's see how this one might have looked to court visitors over the centuries. In 1558, it was hung in Westminster Abbey for the coronation of Elizabeth I. In 1640, it was hung at Whitehall Palace to impress the visiting Spanish ambassador. In 1713, it was cleaned with breadcrumbs and brushes and repaired and hung in Queen Anne's apartments here at Hampton Court. When Queen Victoria decided that Hampton Court should be open to the public, the tapestry took up almost permanent residence in the Great Hall. A century after her death, it still hangs here. And it is still carefully looked after. The light levels are carefully managed too. That's why it's darker in this room. You can still see the other tapestries in this set at Hampton Court Palace today. Together, they are incredible survivors, a direct link with Henry's extravagant world.